Welcome. My name is Paul Deny with Paul Deny Ministries, and if you've been around this ministry any time at all, you're somewhat familiar with what we do. We like to minister on the goodness of God. We minister on, living the good life. But we also minister on what I refer to as God and country. And it's very interesting to begin to see how the founding fathers of the United States of America, how they believed about the Bible and how much that influenced the founding of this great country, the United States of America. I've got in my hands a book titled A Miracle That Changed the World, The 5,000-Year Leap. It's an amazing book, and I have referred to it many times in some of our constitutional classes, but I've always wanted to read it from cover to cover and never have yet. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to sit down now. I'm sitting in my easy chair. I got the fire going, and I thought I'm going to start reading through this book. But I thought, if I read through the book, why don't I just go ahead and record this as I am reading, and then you will be able to read the book too. In other words, nowadays it's real easy to pick up an audio book and just listen to the book as opposed to, physically reading it. And so I thought, well, why don't I make an audio book of this book? And then you will have an opportunity to just kick back and like I say, now I've got it off camera here, but you're going to want to get something to drink and get in an easy chair and just listen to this book. What a fascinating book to share with us how the founding fathers put the United States of America together. Such a unique plan, such a unique country. There is no other country ever has been, or maybe not will be, I don't know, that has the founding based on the Word of God like the United States of America. Now, this book is in two parts. There are some introductory pages in this book that I'm going to bypass, and I'm going to go right to part one, which is titled The Founder's Monumental Task: Structuring a Government with All the Power to the People. And I wrote on the very first page of this page that I'm going to start reading, not political party, but political power. And this is the founders' political spectrum. Part of the genius of the founding fathers was their political spectrum, or political frame of reference. It was a yardstick for the measuring of the political power in any particular system of government. They had a much better political yardstick than the one which is generally used today. If the founders had used the modern yardstick of communism on the left and fascism on the right, they never would have found the balanced center which they were seeking. Here's the next title: What is Left and What is Right? It's extremely unfortunate that the writers on political philosophy today have undertaken to measure various issues in terms of political parties instead of political power. No doubt the American founding fathers would have considered this modern measuring stick most objectionable even meaningless. Today, as we mentioned, it is popular in the classroom as well as the press to refer to communism on the left and fascism on the right. People and parties are often called leftist or rightist. The public do not really understand what they're talking about. These terms actually refer to the manner in which the various parties are seated in the parliaments of Europe. The radical revolutionaries, usually the communists, occupy the far left, and the military dictatorships, such as the fascists, are on the far right. Other parties are located in between. Measuring people and issues in terms of political parties has turned out to be philosophically fascist, if not totally misleading. This is because the platforms or positions of political parties are often superficial and structured on shifting sand. The platform of a political party of one generation can hardly be recognized by the next. Furthermore, communism and fascism turn out to be different names for approximately the same thing: the police state. They are not opposite extremes, but for all practical purposes are virtually identical. And the next heading: the American founding fathers used a more accurate yardstick. Government is defined in the dictionary as a system of ruling or controlling, and therefore the American founders measured political systems in terms of the amount of coercive power or systematic control which a particular system or government exercises over its people. In other words, the yardstick is not political parties, but political power. Using this type of yardstick, the American founders considered the two extremes to be anarchy on the one hand and tyranny on the other. At the one extreme of anarchy, there is no government, no law, no systematic control, and no governmental power. While at the other extreme, there is too much control, too much political oppression, too much government, or, as the founders called it, tyranny. The object of the founders was to discover the balanced center between these two extremes. They recognized that under the chaos, confusion, or under the chaotic confusion of anarchy, there is no law, whereas at the other extreme, the law is totally dominated by the ruling power and is therefore ruler's law. What they wanted to establish was a system of people's law, where the government is kept under the control of the people, and political power is maintained at the balanced center, with enough government to maintain security, justice, and good order, but not enough government to abuse the people. The founders' political spectrum might be graphically illustrated as follows. And I'm not going to be putting things up on the screen, but the picture here shows ruler's law at the extreme left, and it says 100% tyranny. And then far to the right is no law at all, 0% or anarchy. And then right smack dab in the middle, you know what I mean by that? Right in the center of this chart is people's law. So now here we're going to talk about ruler's law. The founders seemed anxious that modern man recognize the subversive characteristics of oppressive ruler's law, which they identified primarily with a tyrannical monarchy. Here are its basic characteristics. Number 1, authority under ruler's law is nearly always established by force, violence, and conquest. Number 2, therefore, all sovereign power is considered to be in the conqueror or his descendants. Number 3, the people are not equal, but are divided into classes and are all looked upon as subjects of the king. Number 4, the entire country is considered to be the property of the ruler. He speaks of it as his realm. Number 5, the thrust of governmental power is from the top down, not from the people upward. Number 6, the people have no unalienable rights. The king giveth, and the king taketh away. Number 7, government is by the whims of men, not by the fixed rule of law which the people need in order to govern their affairs with confidence. Number 8, the ruler issues edicts which are called the law. He then interprets the law and enforces it, thus maintaining tyrannical control over the people. Number 9, under ruler's law, problems are always solved by issuing more edicts or laws, setting up more bureaus, harassing the people with more regulators, and charging the people with these quote-unquote services by continually adding to their burden of taxes. Number 10, freedom is never looked upon as a viable solution to anything. And number 11, the long history of ruler's law is one of blood and terror, both anciently and in modern times. Under it, the people are stratified into an aristocracy of the ruler's retinue, while the lot of the common people is one of perpetual poverty, excessive taxation, stringent regulations, and a continuous existence of misery. Wow. Okay, here we go. The founder's attraction to people's law. In direct contrast to the harsh oppression of ruler's law, the founders, particularly Jefferson, admired the institutes of freedom under people's law as originally practiced among the Anglo-Saxons. As an authority on Jefferson points out. As one authority on Jefferson, he points out, Jefferson's great ambition at that time in 1776 was to promote a renaissance of Anglo-Saxon primitive institutions on the new covenant. Thus presented, the American Revolution was nothing but the reclamation of the Anglo-Saxon birthright of which the colonists had been deprived by a, quote, long trend of abuses, unquote. Nor does it appear that there was anything in this theory which surpassed or shocked his contemporaries. Adams apparently did not disapprove of it, and it would be easy to bring in many similar expressions of the same idea in documents of the time. And then it goes on to give several different references. The next paragraph, characteristics of the Anglo-Saxon common law or people's law. Here are the principal points of people's law as practiced by the Anglo-Saxons. Point number 1. They considered themselves a commonwealth of freedom. Let me read that again. They considered themselves a commonwealth of free men. Number 2. All decisions and the selection of leaders had to be with the consent of the people, preferably by full consensus, not just a majority. Number 3. The laws by which they were governed were considered natural laws given by divine dispensation, and were so well known by the people they did not have to be written down. Number 4. Power was dispersed among the people and never allowed to concentrate in any one person or group. Even in time of war, the authority granted to the leaders was temporary, and the power of the people to remove them was direct and simple. Number 5. Primary responsibility for resolving problems rested first of all with the individual, then the family, then the tribe or community, then the region, and finally the nation. Number 6. They were organized into small, manageable groups where every adult had a voice and a vote. They divided the people into units of 10 families, who elected a leader. Then 50 families, who elected a leader. Then 100 families, who elected a leader. And then 1,000 families, who elected a leader. Number 7. They believed the rights of the individual were considerable, unalienable, and could not be violated without risking the wrath of divine justice as well as civil retribution by the people's judges. Number 8. The system of justice was structured on the basis of severe punishment, unless there was complete reparation to the person who had been wronged. There were only 4 crimes or offenses against the whole people. These were treason, by betraying their own people; cowardice, by refusing to fight or failing to fight courageously; desertion; and homosexuality. These were considered capital offenses. All other offenses required reparation to the person who had been wronged. Number 9. They always attempted to solve problems on the level where the problem originated. If this was impossible, they went no higher than was absolutely necessary to get a remedy. Usually only the most complex problems involving the welfare of the whole people, or a large segment of the people, ever went to the leaders for resolution. The contrast between ruler's law, all power to the ruler, and people's law, all power to the people, is graphically illustrated below. Note where the power base is located under each of these systems. Also, compare the relationship between the individual and the rest of society under these 2 systems. And really, it is the same as what I had discussed before. Ruler's law, extreme to the left, called 100% tyranny, and no law at all, 0, or anarchy, on the extreme right, and then people's law right in the center, and all power to the people.